why do we get depression? First hypothesis is monoamine hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, decrease in neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine, sometimes dopamine causes results in the decrease of brain derivative neurotropic factors. As BDNF decreases, availability to the postsynaptic neuron also decreases, and it results in the reduced signaling to postsynaptic neuron. So the person will be feeling sad and shows depression symptoms, because serotonin helps the person to get good sleep, interest in eating, feeling well-being, and makes the person to feel happy. Norepinephrine increases the energy in the body. It increases the energy by breaking the fat in the body, so the person will be feeling energetic. Whereas the dopamine causes motivation and pleasure. Due to decrease in these three neurotransmitters, the person will be feeling sad and shows depression symptoms. Second hypothesis is neurotropic hypothesis. First, let us know the BDNF functions. It performs the functions such as maintenance and survival of neurons, and it also regulates glucose and energy metabolism, which helps in growth of new neurons. It maintains the synapse. Third function of BDNF is it maintains synapse and regulates the neural transmission. Second one, neurotropic hypothesis. It mainly tells about the decrease in BDNF level, how it affects the depression. Change in or mutation of the chromosome level in which the BDNF gene is present. After the mutation, valine is replaced to methionine, and this mutation will affect the activity of BDNF. Conditions such as stress will also play a crucial role in decreasing the activity of BDNF. It again, the neurogenetic disorders or generative disorders like Parkinsonism and Alzheimer's decreases the activity and secretion of brain derivative neurotropic factors. Such people who have less BDNF levels are more susceptible to neuropsychiatric disorders like depression and bipolar anxiety. Whenever an antidepressant is given, what will happen? Antidepressant, when given, will upregulate the BDNF to normal levels. So the person will be have reduced depression symptoms and he will be feeling happy and better. Previously I told you why do we get depression symptoms. Now I will give you a brief idea how can we diagnose a patient or a person with depression and also the treatment given to depression. How can we treat and how can we diagnose any person? Is there any diagnosis? Yes. Reduced BDNF level will decreases the neuronal growth. The neurons growth will be decreased, due to which there will be reduction in the size of brain structures. If at all if you have a brain imaging of a patient with depression, we can see the following features. First feature is reduced hippocampus volume, altered amygdala volume. Amygdala volume will be changed. Third one is reduced ventral prefrontal cortex volume. If hippocampus volume is changed, he will be having aspects of depression such as memory impairment, hopelessness, guilt, and suicidal thoughts. Amygdala change in amygdala will cause anhedonia. Anhedonia is nothing but loss of interest in pleasant things, anxiety, and motivation. Hypothalamus alternation will also alter the appetite pattern. Thalamus change in thalamus volume will changes the pattern of sleep. He will be not able to sleep properly and the sleeping pattern will be changed. Treatment. How to treat a person or a patient suffering with depression. Now we will discuss about the treatment. Mild cases treated with psychotherapy or talking therapy or counseling. Moderate cases, antidepressants are used. Severe cases, antidepressants and therapies are used. Augmentation strategy is a strategy which is used in severe cases or in cases of resistant depression, we will be using this augmentation strategy. Psychotherapy is a therapy or treatment given to a patient suffering with mild depression. Cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal therapy, and psychodynamic therapy are most commonly used aspects of psychotherapy. CBT it is a procedure to identify and challenge common pattern of negative thoughts in a depression patient and to change potentially self-destructive or unhealthy behavior. Usually, negative thoughts and change in behavior, both these factors will affect the emotions of a person. The person gets emotionally affected. These affected emotions will make the person sad and shows depression symptoms. Behavior, thoughts, and emotions. These three act in a circular form and causes depression symptoms. Here the psychiatrist will try to identify the dysfunction pattern among thoughts and behavior and reshape them with a new pattern. The psychiatrist will find a weak link in these three things: behavior, thoughts, and emotions, and he will try to break the connection and breaks the chain. Next is interpersonal therapy. Interpersonal therapy or interpersonal psychotherapy is a time limited process. Usually, we need 10 to 16 sessions. The psychiatrist will be addressing past, present social roles and interpersonal interaction to identify roles this relationship play in our life and new ways of resolving the conflicts. He will tell us how can we solve our problems or conflicts in a new and better way. Psychodynamic therapy, a long-term therapy based on the idea that person's behavior is affected by unconscious mind and past experience. The psychiatrist will explore the behavior patterns that they are not aware of but contribute to depression, like any traumas from childhood or any accidental incidents from childhood which make the person depressed. Antidepressants are given to patients with moderate depression. Its mechanism of action: how does it act, where does it act, what will it block? First point, reuptake is inhibited so that monoamine availability to postsynaptic neuron increases. At second level, it will block the receptors which reuptake the monoamines like serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine on presynaptic neuron. Monoamine oxidase enzyme is inhibited because it will digest the serotonin, norepinephrine and dopamine and decreases the availability to postsynaptic neuron. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors mainly interferes with the transmission of serotonin. It will increase the serotonin levels in the body. SSRI will inhibits the serotonin transporter activity and blocks the reuptake of serotonin, due to which serotonin levels increase in the synapse. And this increased serotonin levels in the synapse are absorbed by the serotonin receptors present in the postsynaptic neuron. It also enhances the transcription of related proteins and increases the production of BDNF. Hence, the person will be having antidepressant effect because BDNF proteins are released and also serotonin increases in the body. SSRI are commonly used and first lines of drugs in depression. Fluoxetine is most commonly used SSRI. It is a prodrug and activates inside the body. A person will be having no withdrawal symptoms if he is using fluoxetine because its effect decreases gradually, so less side effects are seen. Paroxetine, usually depression patients will be suffering from insomnia. Paroxetine is given to such patients because paroxetine causes sedation and makes the depression patient sleep, and it has more withdrawal symptoms. Citalopram is most commonly used selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, but it is avoided in patients who have suicidal tendencies. Escitalopram is an enantiomer of citalopram and more potent. Nearly it is 1000 times more potent than citalopram. It is more specific and used in OCD and MDD. SSRI will be having many side effects like anxiety, insomnia, vivid dreams, erectile dysfunction, decreased libido, delayed ejaculation, and also serotonin syndrome. All these are the side effects of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, these are the SNRI. It will perform the function by increasing the levels of norepinephrine and serotonin in the postsynaptic neuron. This is because they decrease the reuptake of these monoamines through the neurons, presynaptic neurons. Hence, it is called as dual acting SNRI. Venlafaxine, desvenlafaxine, milansiptone, duloxetine are the SNRIs. Venlafaxine is most commonly used, short acting, safe in overdose, do not block muscarinic, histaminic, androgenic receptors, so do not have the side effects. It is useful in the treatment of melancholic depression. It has symptoms like loss of pleasure, loss of reactivity to positive news, deep feeling of despair, and personal guilt. Tricyclic antidepressants are cheaper than SSRI, so still we use them. It increases the monoamine transmitters levels because it binds to the receptors that transport the serotonin to the presynaptic neuron and decrease the reuptake. Hence the level is increased. Usually melancholic depression. Some of the TCAs are clomipramine, amoxapine, and nortriptyline. Nortriptyline is useful in the smoking dependent persons. TCA toxicity is treated with sodium bicarbonate. Some of the side effects are obesity, constipation, and dry mouth. MAO inhibitors, monoamine oxidase enzyme inhibitors, monoamine oxidase enzyme which digests serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine and decreases their availability. So this enzyme should be inhibited. It is of two types: selective MAO inhibitors which increases the levels of serotonin only, non-selective will increase the levels of other monoamines also. Selective MAO inhibitors are reversible, non-selective are irreversible because they irreversibly inhibit the MAO enzyme. MAO inhibitors have many side effects like insomnia because of the CNS stimulation. Other side effects like hepatotoxicity, hypertensive crisis, and cheese reaction occurs. Cheese reaction occurs whenever we take MAO inhibitors with cheese because it contains tyramine. When an SSRI and a MAO inhibitor are administered concurrently, there could be a significant increase in serotonin in the synapse, leading to serotonin syndrome. Symptoms of serotonin syndrome are restlessness. The patient will be having tremors, aggressive behavior, rigidity, seizures are also seen, and in some patients fever is observed. Aggressive behavior and sweating is also seen. Treatment: for first we should stop the drug. Mild cases treated with benzodiazepine, severe cases chlorpromazine is suggested. Somatic therapy is used to treat severe cases along with antidepressants. ECT, electroconvulsive therapy or shock therapy, light therapy, and vagus nerve stimulation. All these three are the somatic therapies. ECT is the safest method and most commonly used method. In modified ECT, we will be using a muscle relaxant along with anesthetic agent. ECT is preferred in patients of severe mood disorder, suicidal patients, and catatonic patients. Increased permeability, dopamine or serotonin receptor chain, cholecystokinin and thyroxine hormone chain. Vagus nerve stimulation. Here a pacemaker is inserted inside the body by surgery. It stimulates the left side of the vagus nerve and sends afferent impulses through tractus solitarius to the brain. The vagus nerve stimulation is done in such a way that the vagus nerve is stimulated for 30 seconds and a gap of 5 minutes is given, and the process is continued in the same way. We do vagus nerve stimulation to activate prefrontal cortex and limbic system so that regulation of thoughts and emotions can